Mercedes did not just beat Ferrari in Austria. Mercedes found the crack. That is the part that changes everything. Leclerc started second. Hamilton started third. 2 Ferraris inside the top 3. After Hamilton's win in Spain, this was supposed to be the weekend Ferrari proved the fight was real. But then the race began and the truth exploded. Ferrari's tires faded. Their race pace vanished. The straights punished them. The corners did not save them. And while Russell drove to victory, Antonelli stood on the podium, and Mercedes collected control, Ferrari was left explaining why its strongest Saturday turned into another painful Sunday. This is huge news for Mercedes because Ferrari did not look slow. Ferrari looked fragile. And fragile is much worse. A slow car can be fixed. A fragile car gives rivals a target. Now Mercedes knows the question that can break Ferrari's weekend. Can the SF26 keep its tires alive when the race gets serious? Because if the answer is no, then Austria was not just a Ferrari collapse. It was Mercedes discovering exactly how to hurt them again. Subscribe to the channel. Austria gave Mercedes something more valuable than a victory. It gave them information. And in Formula 1, information can be more dangerous than speed. Because speed tells you who is fast today. Information tells you where a rival might break tomorrow. Mercedes did not just see Ferrari lose control of a race. They saw the exact shape of the weakness. They saw Ferrari qualify near the front. They saw Leclerc start second. They saw Hamilton start third. They saw the red cars look threatening before the Grand Prix began. And then, when the race distance arrived, they saw the same thing everyone at Ferrari feared. The pace did not hold. That is the first reason Mercedes will leave Austria feeling stronger than the result alone suggests. A team can recover from being beaten by pure speed. It can study the lap time, develop the car, and chase the gap. But a team that gets exposed by tire degradation gives its rivals a plan. And that is what Ferrari may have done. Because before the race, Ferrari looked like a direct threat. 2 cars inside the top 3 is not just good qualifying. It is strategic power. It means Mercedes cannot focus on only one red car. It means Russell has pressure ahead and behind. It means the pit wall has to consider undercuts, cover moves, split strategies, and the possibility that Ferrari could force the race to come alive early. That is what should have happened. But Ferrari's tire problem changed the game. Once the tires became fragile, Ferrari's strategic power started shrinking. The team could no longer think only about attacking Mercedes. It had to think about protecting itself from its own degradation. It had to manage the rear tires. It had to watch the lap times. It had to calculate when the performance would drop away. That is when Mercedes gained control. Not just because Russell was fast, because Ferrari became limited. And there is a huge difference between racing a fast rival and racing a limited rival. A fast rival forces you to defend everywhere. A limited rival forces you to wait for the weakness to appear. Mercedes now knows that Ferrari can be dangerous over one lap, but vulnerable over a race distance. That does not mean Ferrari is not a threat. It means the threat has conditions attached. Fresh tires, clean air, the right circuit, the right balance window, the right temperature, the right strategy. That is a lot of conditions. And championship teams attack conditions. They do not panic when a conditional car looks strong on Saturday. They ask whether that strength can survive Sunday. They ask whether the tires can hold. They ask whether the driver can push without paying for it later. They ask whether the pit wall has freedom, or whether the car is already making the decisions for them. In Austria, Ferrari did not look free. That is what Mercedes will remember. The Red Bull Ring exposed the SF26 in a way that was simple to understand. The straights were long enough to punish Ferrari's weakness. Leclerc had already warned that the team was losing too much time there. But the corners did not rescue them either. Ferrari was negatively surprised by its performance in that area, and that detail matters because it removes the natural escape route. If you are weak on the straights, you need the corners. If the corners are also disappointing, the tires start carrying the burden. And tires do not forgive that for long. Every time the Ferrari drivers tried to recover time out of a corner, the rear tires had to work harder. Every small slide created more heat. Every extra bit of heat reduced grip. Every loss of grip made the car slide more. And once that loop begins, race pace starts fading before the team can truly fight back. Mercedes did not need Ferrari to collapse in one dramatic moment. They only needed the loop to continue. That is how a race pace crisis becomes an advantage for a rival. Mercedes could focus on controlling the race, while Ferrari had to manage the cost of staying in it. Russell's win was the headline, but the deeper message was about stability. Mercedes had enough race pace to turn the weekend into execution. Ferrari had enough qualifying speed to create hope, but not enough race strength to control the outcome. That contrast is enormous, because Formula One rewards the car that repeats, not the car that flashes. A flash can put you second on the grid. A flash can create headlines. A flash can make the garage feel alive. But repeatable pace wins the race. Repeatable pace lets a driver stay calm when the tires age. It lets the pit wall keep strategy open. It lets a team decide the rhythm instead of reacting to problems. Mercedes looked closer to that in Austria. Ferrari did not. And this is why the result matters for the championship. Antonelli finishing on the podium was not just another strong performance. It protected Mercedes' position in the wider fight and made Ferrari's lost opportunity feel even heavier. When one team turns difficult pressure into points, and another turns a strong grid into questions, the season begins to tilt. Not suddenly, quietly. A few points here, a missed podium there. A race where Ferrari starts high but cannot sustain the pace. A race where Mercedes sees the weakness and stores it for later. That is how championships move. And this is why Austria may become a race Mercedes studies again. Not only because Russell won, because Ferrari revealed a pattern Mercedes can test. Because a championship is not won by being impressive once. It is won by being reliable under pressure. It is won by knowing your car will still respond when the tires are older. It is won by giving the driver enough confidence to attack late, not just early. In Austria, Mercedes looked closer to that standard. Ferrari looked trapped between promise and limitation. That is the perfect place for Mercedes to apply pressure. Because Ferrari's own expectations make the damage worse. After Hamilton's win in Spain, Ferrari had to prove the breakthrough was not circuit-specific. They had to prove the car could travel to a different kind of track and stay competitive in race conditions. Qualifying suggested they might. The race suggested they had not. That contradiction is dangerous inside a team. The drivers feel it because they know the opportunity was there. Leclerc started second. Hamilton started third. They were not buried. They were not irrelevant. They had the positions Ferrari needed. The engineers feel it because the data will show where the tires faded, where the straight line loss appeared, and where the corner performance failed to compensate. The strategists feel it because tire wear limited the choices that should have been available from such a strong grid. And team leadership feels it because Mercedes took the result Ferrari needed. That is how pressure builds. Not just through defeat. Through the sense that the defeat came from a weakness already visible before the race. And for Mercedes, that is almost the ideal outcome. They do not only leave with points. They leave knowing Ferrari has homework. They leave knowing Ferrari must prove the tire degradation issue can be controlled. They leave knowing every similar circuit becomes another test Ferrari cannot afford to fail. That is why Spa, Monza, and Las Vegas suddenly matter even more. Those circuits can ask the same kind of questions Austria asked. Can Ferrari defend on long straights? Can it protect its rear tires under heavy acceleration? Can it stay efficient? Can it maintain race pace when the grip begins to fade? If Ferrari cannot answer those questions, Mercedes will not need to invent a new way to beat them. They will already have one. That is the terrifying part for Ferrari. Mercedes may have discovered that the best way to fight Ferrari is not to panic when the red cars qualify well. It is to force the race to become long, physical, tire-sensitive, and strategic. It is to trust that if Ferrari's tire degradation appears again, the race will slowly move toward Mercedes. That changes the psychology. Ferrari now has to prove its Sunday pace. Mercedes only has to keep asking the question. And every time Ferrari fails to answer, the pressure becomes heavier. For Hamilton, that carries an extra edge. He understands Mercedes' standards better than anyone. He knows how a team with race control feels from the inside. He knows how powerful it is when the car, the tires, and the strategy all move in the same direction. Now, at Ferrari, he is living the opposite problem. A car that can deliver moments. A car that can win in the right conditions. But a car that still has to prove it can survive when the circuit becomes hostile. That is not a small emotional shift. Leclerc feels it from another angle. He has spent years producing Ferrari magic over one lap. Austria gave him another chance to turn that into a race. But when tire degradation takes away the platform, qualifying brilliance becomes a painful reminder of what the car still cannot support. Mercedes will know that too. They will know Ferrari's drivers are dangerous. But they will also know dangerous drivers can be limited by a car that asks too much of its tires. That is why the race pace crisis is so valuable for Mercedes. It gives them a way to separate Ferrari's talent from Ferrari's execution. Let the drivers create the threat. Then test whether the car can sustain it. In Austria, the car did not sustain it well enough. And that creates a new hierarchy of confidence. Mercedes can say, we have proof we can win here. Ferrari has to say, we need to understand why our race pace did not match our grid position. Those are not equal positions. One team leaves with validation. The other leaves with investigation. Investigation is necessary. It can lead to progress. It can lead to fixes. It can turn a painful weekend into a turning point. But investigation also means uncertainty. And uncertainty is exactly what Mercedes wants Ferrari to carry into the next race. Because a rival with uncertainty becomes easier to pressure. They hesitate more. They protect more. They plan around weakness more. They wonder whether the same problem will return. That is the psychological damage Austria may have created. The result says Mercedes won. But the deeper story says Ferrari now has to defend its entire race pace identity. Are they a true Sunday threat? Or are they a Saturday danger with a tire problem waiting underneath? That question is now alive. And once a question like that exists in Formula One, rivals do not let it die easily. Mercedes will keep asking it, lap after lap, race after race, until Ferrari proves the answer has changed.